Let's jump into the Roto World player news. And for all your player news, go to NBCSports.com. You heard Josh Allen at the top, Lawrence. What a thriller it was here on Sunday Night Football. Josh Allen, 30 of 38, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks in a game where Stephon Diggs came back to life, finally.
Yeah, and it even included that was a play right there. Shout out to Trent Sherfield right there, the toe drag off the Madden tip right there for the touchdown. But yeah, man, Josh Allen and this Bills team, you got to give him credit not just for this game, but for down the stretch. I spoke about it last week. They haven't been winning games convincingly, but they found a way to win, and that's what matters, and that's why you're the 2 seed. They woke up yesterday, might not even being able to get in the playoffs. Now they're the 2 seed, and I feel like they're supposed to be here because you won the games. Josh Allen had the turnovers. They overcame that. And they pulled out the victory, so credit to him and his team as a whole. They played good team, complementary football, and they're right where they're supposed to be.
And it completely flipped the AFC seeding in a scenario where now Miami goes to Kansas City in the opening round, where Miami's been playing in 70, 75-degree weather. We think that game could be well into the negatives here, Jay.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about the Bills. Had they lost that game, their path to get to the AFC title game would have been at Miami, at Baltimore. And now instead it's home Mason Rudolph and then potentially home Joe Flacco or a Houston Texans team that has never been in the playoffs before in this iteration. So massive reverberations out of that game. The Bills are now your clear 3rd Super Bowl favorite behind only the 2 1 seeds in San Francisco and Baltimore. And they were, I think, the real big winner out of yesterday. And I will say that, look, there are better teams than the Buffalo Bills, even if there's only 2 of them. There are worse teams, but there is no more infuriating team than the Buffalo Bills, particularly if you have bet on them. The amount I bet on the Bills at plus 160 to win the AFC East before the season. That went through an absolute odyssey.
Yes.
And even last night,
night,
to see Allen's turnovers, it felt like they were going to score every single time they had the ball. And then from their first 4 red zone trips, I think they scored once, which is just completely insane, but that is the nature of this Bills team. But credit to Sean McDermott for fixing the defense in the second half of the season, and also for going for it from 4th and 1 on his own 35. I'm not sure if he does that earlier in the year, but that was a bold call, and it helped them win the game.
Yeah, man, and just to for the Dolphins, it's like, the Bills still, they run the town. They've won 3 of the past 4 regular season games, 4 out of the last 5 if you include the playoff game from last year. So the Miami Dolphins, while they've gotten, they're a better team. They're a playoff team. They're bludgeoned with injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. There was a time during the middle of the season where you could kind of talk about them as, can they be a threat to go deep into the playoffs, possibly a Super Bowl. It's going to be real tough for them now going to Kansas City. They're not healthy. Shout out to Melvin Ingram, who made a career rushing the passer.
Right.
He playing, 3 technique. He's playing nickel corner. He's covering wheel routes, So it's like, shout out to him, because that's what the Dolphins was down to. So, and now it's like, damn, you lose. Now what you get, you just talked about the Bills, like changing their trajectory throughout the playoffs. And what do the Miami Dolphins get? Well, you get to go to Kansas City, who they haven't been dominating like usual, but it's still Kansas City at home, and they're the defending Super Bowl champs right now. So, I mean, congrats to Miami on that. It's going to be tough.
Yep. And fantasy-wise, I mean, it's good for Stephon Diggs to get back involved in the offense, 7 for 87, and also could have had Allen missed him on an 80-yard touchdown, wide open. Yep. So you think if that just connects and all of a sudden he's 8 for 167 and a touchdown, it looks a little bit different. Devin Achane is an absolute monster, amazing touchdown run. I think the next-gen stats on the broadcast showed there was a 1% chance that was going to be a touchdown, and because of Achane, because of his cut,
he definitely made that run. That's part of what makes him good, and it's like he's sliding on the field, making those cuts without losing any speed. I would have liked to see the Dolphins stuck with the run a little more, but they couldn't because they was losing the momentum. the Bills was, they tightened up in that second half. And, I mean, it was a good game. It's exactly how you want to end the season with a game like that, ending like that. Obviously, the Dolphins don't want to end it like that, but, you are where you're supposed to be right now.
We move over to the NFC. The Cowboys take care of business against the Commanders in a game the Cowboys had to have, and with that win, they now host the Packers in the wild card round. We'll get to some early line alert stuff at the end of this show, but Dallas is 7.5-point favorites in that game because of what they've been able to do at home. Dak Prescott in this one on the road, though, 31-36, 279 yards, the 4 touchdowns. And CeeDee Lamb continues to be a dominant force, catching 2 touchdowns in this game as well.
Yeah, as much as we've talked about Tyreek Hill and his near-historic season, CeeDee Lamb finishes the season just 50 yards behind Tyreek. He's come home with a head of steam, just one fewer touchdown than Tyreek as well. And I mean, Dak is again, in a way, the story. Like, I don't think Dak Prescott is going to win MVP, but he's a pretty good chance to come second. And I think that would be very well deserved. I mean, statistically, you could argue he has been the best quarterback, though a lot of that has come against the weaker teams, and that's why he's not going to win MVP. But I mean, he was majestic, and they now get the 2 seed. They get a matchup favorable for their offense, at least against Green Bay's defense, as opposed to, I mean, it looked like they were going to have to play at Tampa Bay, at San Francisco first 2 weeks. They get the 2 seed, much more favorable draw for the Cowboys.
And again, I kind of look at the Cowboys on the side of the bit, like they're like the Bills of the NFC in the fact where middle of the season, it's looking like the Eagles are going to run away with this division. And they're a couple of games up on Dallas, but the Eagles, they start faltering. They start playing some bad football by their standards. And Jay, to your point, Dak Prescott, it'll be interesting to see when it comes around the time to select the all-pro team. You only get 2 quarterbacks, first team, second team. 2 of those guys will be Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, or Brock Purdy. So it'll be interesting to see who gets left off, with Dak finishing the year as the leader in touchdown passes.
I think with the way the season ended, Lamar and Dak makes the most sense, with Purdy on the outside looking in.
And we talk about it a lot, the recency bias and how you play last. What you see last was Lamar dominating the 49ers and the Dolphins. People that Brock Purdy game against the Ravens may creep in there, but Dak statistically, this is the best he's been. So if there's any team, I don't know if there's a team over there in the NFC bracket that could touch the Niners, but right now it's looking like Dallas has the best chance to do so.
Well, so while Dallas locks up favorable playoff seeding, the Commanders lock up the 2nd overall pick in the draft. It'll be an interesting future for them because we're assuming that is going to be a new quarterback, whether it's Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, because Terry McLaurin ends up eclipsing the 1,000-yard mark for the 4th straight season. And this is a guy, Lawrence, that I think as much as he had some good moments with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett this year, he's going to welcome in one of those top prospects with open arms.
Oh, yeah, he 100% will. There was some talk early in the season, basically this year was to see if Sam Howell could be that guy for them. I think now with the Commanders having that number 2 pick and having a nice set of skilled players at the receiver position, you want to possibly get one of those top quarterbacks at the draft. Marvin Harrison will be up there, but I don't think for them it'll make too much sense to go that route. I think they're very much in the market for a quarterback. They weren't as high as number 2 earlier this season, so that plays into it as well. So, yeah, Terry McLaurin, being able to see what he's done these past few years, racking up these 1,000-yard seasons, it's like comparing it to DJ Moore. We saw him getting 1,000 yards with whoever at quarterback. He went to Justin Fields and had a career year. We could possibly see the same type of thing with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I think he'll be valued higher, even coming off a career low, only 12.3 points per game.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.